Watchdogs at OpenTheBooks.com are looking at the past decade of property tax trends in the city and how this new budget fits in. We've got Jeremy Portnoy. He's the investigative journalist with Open the Books. Good morning to you, Jeremy.
Good morning, Shannon. How are you?
I'm good. So let's talk about how have property taxes changed over the past few years. What are you seeing?
So we went back, we looked at the past 10 years of property tax collection. We found that over that time, the total tax revenue the city is bringing in keeps increasing. For 5 years, it was increasing faster than inflation. In 2020, that changed. So even though the city keeps bringing in more and more money, it's not enough to keep up with the pace of inflation. And when you take that into account, they're collecting slightly less money in property taxes to keep up with city services.
So you're saying property taxes haven't increased, but there are homeowners who would disagree, seeing huge tax increases. So how does that work?
Right. So even though the total tax revenue hasn't increased by so much, Baltimore's population is decreasing, right? We saw it go slightly up last year, but before that, it fell for 9 years in a row. So that property tax bill is now split among less people than it was before. So for a lot of people, it means you're paying more than you were before, since there's less others to offset your contribution.
And so what does that mean as we look for the future? You know, what about this year and the next year? What will property taxes look like for homeowners?
Yeah, well, the new estimates we have from the city, they're saying in 2025, property tax revenue is going to increase by 5%. 2026 would be another 6% increase in the total collection. So the last time we saw an increase that large in back-to-back years was back in 2016 and 2017. So we might be getting back to a point where property tax revenue is now increasing faster than inflation again. We'll have to see how inflation shakes up the next 2 years. But even though that 2.24% property tax rate you're paying hasn't changed, the revenue for the city does change a lot year to year.
All right. And the biggest takeaway here, Jeremy, you know, for homeowners, how should they prepare for the future?
I mean, it's going to be tough to see how we see inflation change over this year, next year, right? Obviously, there's a ton of uncertainty in the market now with all the tariffs and everything we're seeing going on. So it's hard to predict how that's going to shake out. But we do know that we can expect the total property tax revenue for the city to increase more than as before, to more money coming into city services than we've seen previously.
All right, Jeremy Portnoy with Open the Books. Thank you so much. We appreciate your insight.
Thanks for having me. I'll see you next week.